Hello, and welcome to Bear Necessities. My name is Bear, and today we're going to check in and talk a little bit about beta, how it's been generally so far, and talk about my top 3 bugs that either have been fixed or I hope get fixed. First, let's talk a little generally about what Origins actually is after playing it for a couple of weeks. I first thought and even stated that Origins was an original client from 2006, but after playing it a bit, I don't think this is the case at all. I believe that the developers were able to dig into source control and find a version of the code in 2006, and it looks like the dev teams then took that as a reference and re-implemented the game through the lens of 2006. Again, I don't know all the details of how their codebase works and how disjointed it is, but if you log into beta, you can tell we are on a new client. There's just a lot of things that either don't work, are disabled, or do work and shouldn't. I'll start by saying this is probably one of the most active betas that Darkpaw has ever had on a game, probably even more active than EQ1. The server load indicator is high at peak times, which is just crazy to see, honestly. I've personally submitted around 10 bugs, but the forum has roughly 250 bug reports. However, there are a fair amount of these posts that really aren't bugs, but more feedback, or people don't search the forum first to make sure the bug hasn't already been reported. If you look in resolved bugs, the amount of not a bug or duplicate tagged reports is very high. So if you're going to submit bugs, please do a search of the forum first to make sure you don't duplicate. Having the dev team spending hours triaging bugs will take away from their time fixing them. Secondly, things are in a really good state after a couple of weeks. The developers are fixing things at breakneck speeds, and we've gotten over 5 beta updates in that time. Several of the fundamental issues have been fixed or are in progress, but I'll dig into those soon. I just wanted to state that I'm really impressed with Keith and the other developers for Origins, and I hope they continue to bang away at bugs until the server is released. Third, with Phase 2, they did drop a preview of what could possibly be on the marketplace, and I'm pretty satisfied with the results. The XP potions, while still good, are not huge amounts, and can't be stacked with others to make leveling too fast. And the other items seem to be mostly cosmetic. There are some 12-slot bags, some with appearances, and some mounts that will give an early speed boost if purchased, but overall, I think the store items available will allow Darkpaw to make a decent amount on microtransactions, but aren't overpowered enough to take away from the classic experience. Alright, so enough general talk about beta and how things are going. Let's move on to my top 3 bug fixes for beta. Number 3, resistances. It looks like this has largely been fixed, but I assume items will continue to be fixed as we move up tiers. When beta first started, a lot of items had plus to poison resist or plus to mental resist. However, the system didn't seem to account for these granular resist. The developers decided to consolidate resist to make them less granular than in 2006, but more granular than on live. Now resistances get pooled into trauma, arcane, elemental, and noxious. All of the items with the granular resist were consolidated as well. I think this fix is fair. It's not 100% classic, but it does fix a fundamental issue, as resists weren't working at all in their granular state. Number 2, racial traits. Racial traits in 2006 were very different than they are on live. Live racial traits included things like multi-attack, cast speed, crit, uncontested block, etc. All of these racial traits are definitely out of progression and are quite a power spike in days where no blue stats exist on gear. There are a number of bug reports on the forums about this, but it seems like the development team is fixing these. The larger bug is in progress, and I'm optimistic that they will be changed back to the 2006 values. Racial selection is actually pretty important for early expansions, so I'm excited to see that they are fixing this issue. Number 1, stat fixes and balance. Stats were pretty broken at the beginning of beta. The classic stats is one of the most important aspects of Origins in my opinion, but I'm happy to report they do seem to be working correctly now for the most part, other than wisdom. They may need to slightly balance, but at least they are buffing correctly. For more info on that, strength should buff melee based damage, intelligence should buff spell based damage, stamina should buff health, agility should buff avoidance, and wisdom should buff healer mana pool and resist, which I think the resist component is still broken. Once these are all fixed, I think mechanically and fundamentally we can have a good game and balance from there. Of course, there are a number of showstopper bugs like no revive points in zones, crashes, etc., but I think most of these have been fixed. There's still a lot of time left in beta, and there's definitely a long way to go in terms of getting everything fixed. But as long as we continue at the pace we are, and we have a player base to continue testing, I firmly believe that Anashti Sul can be one of the best and most populated TLE servers for Darkpaw, and potentially set a framework for TLEs in the years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.